Hi.
Hi, Julie. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Solomon. It's been a week and a half we've seen each other.
Really?
Yeah,
Only that? Feels
only
longer.
that. It
Okay.
feels longer. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Yeah. Um, yeah, a lot happening. I've just moved yesterday into my new home
Oh,
for the next
great.
6 months or a year. Uh,
Nice.
upgrading my accommodation, living situation. And yeah, meeting my lawyer today to formalize my residency finally. So yeah,
Nice. Wow. Awesome. I
all
saw
good.
your website is born.
Yes, that's who. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of things coming online.
Awesome. I really like
Yeah.
the website.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna acknowledge there's an audience starting the
Yep.
interview.
Yep.
Hello,
Yep.
world.
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone.
So I'm here with Solomon. Solomon is one of my high-level mentorship client. We have worked together for the past 3 months. Uh, you came in my awareness in October, I think, and we
November,
started
December, yes, something like that. Or maybe, yeah, October. I think beginning of October, probably.
September, October, and then we started working more closely in the high-level mentorship November, December, and January, and we ended up with a climax meeting in person in Peru, end of
Yeah.
January for about 10 days. Wonderful.
Yeah. It's been quite a journey.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So, so Solomon is a very highly trained curandero, and a curandero is someone who can conduct plant medicine ceremony. Correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
th Well, I think strictly speaking, curandero means healer, curar, to heal. It's a Spanish word. But it's particularly here and in the world of plant medicine, yeah, it's applied to plant medicine. I guess a normal doctor would be called medico, but also within this tradition that I'm in, you also can be called a medico or a doctor. No, so but yeah, curandero.
And very well trained and highly skilled with the Shipibo, indigenous people from Peru. So not your everyday plant healing corner, street corner guy, like really someone who went deep in it and who knows it, who knows what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah, you could say that.
Among other things, that's one of the gift. That's not all, but that's one of the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And we will share how to reach you if someone is intrigued and wants to learn more about you and your website and you have a new like YouTube channel is being born, maybe?
With this video, and I have now planned. I've got a couple of videos planned for yeah the coming days. So
Great.
yeah, uh, and I can at the end if yeah I can tell you what it will be called.
Oh, great.
But
Okay.
yeah, because it's a name that is pretty unusual, so I don't think anyone will have got it yet. So anyway, yeah,
Oh,
it's
nice.
all it's all starting. Thanks to you,
Hmm.
and thanks to me.
Yeah.
We are one.
So, yeah, so that's a little bit of context. And my question was, I'm curious about the mentorship. What was the authentic desire behind it? Like, what motivated your decision to do this?
Um, so I've been working for the last, well, I say working, practicing or working for the last nearly 3 decades, certainly 25 years, since my early 20s, in various sort of personal development or spiritual disciplines, culminating in let's say a apprenticeship, if you want to use that word, with my master of plant medicine, a crazy wise old man called Don Pedro Sinuiri in the jungle in Peru. So 7 years of that, learning a huge amount of stuff, going through all the ups and downs of anybody on an authentic spiritual path. But I got to the end of it, and well, I didn't get to the end of it. It's ongoing, but I got to a certain point, and there's just still something in me that's missing, or the feeling that there was something missing. Why aren't I happy or at peace all of the time? Tended to be kind of a bit of a roller coaster. And so I was looking for something outside of medicine, and I think in retrospect, in hindsight, I know that one of the things I was looking for was the ability to set boundaries, to be self-sovereign. As there's so many things in the mentorship buzzwords like being sovereign being, following your highest excitement, all these things, so many things that before were like kind of just spiritual jargon. They actually just came online, and then I finally understood what they really meant. So let's say, just to cut a long story short, that I was searching for integrity, integration, and sovereignty. And I came across you, and I just felt a real resonance, and something in your eyes. I could see that I've got quite a good radar for knowing when people actually are genuine. Well, I think I do. Everybody
At
thinks
a
they do.
certain point, there's a
But
frequency where we can recognize.
yeah. So what you spoke was truth, and I think as a lot of spiritual teachers would say, that it's not even the words.
No.
It's what's behind the words and the resonance. So I saw something in you that really, magnetized me. Made me feel there's a resonance here. So we had a conversation, and then one thing led to another. I joined the group, and then you proposed a mentorship to me, and it's like, yeah, hell yeah, jump in. And
Take a
you
high
know
jump.
I think in my case, it's not necessarily the same for everybody, but I just, take the high jump. I could sort of carry along in a group for a while, and I've done that many times and many years. And I guess, let's say, I just needed a little bit of rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And
Readiness.
so
There was readiness.
and well, yes, and I think that's really key as well. Is the readiness. I was ready, willing, absolutely. You could say that many years of just getting to that point, creeping towards the edge of the cliff and ready to jump. So that's a big factor as well. If one is ready, there's a certain bit that's out of everybody's control. It's just whether are you ready, for whatever reason, work you've done, the level of consciousness you arrived in this life with, who knows? But there's a moment when something
Would you
like your
say it has
container.
a flavor of stepping in your power? Like just, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I'm not even necessarily realizing that I was stepping in my power, or kind of knowing how that was going to pan out. Because obviously, what happened in the container was not. I don't know. I was looking for something, and I was ready for something, but one can
You,
never know. One can
yeah.
never imagine what's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
that's how I came to it.
What was the most unexpected outcome? Now that we're talking about like it's not known what's gonna happen, and it is and it isn't, kind of.
Well, knowing that we were going to have a conversation, I was trying to like look at what could I talk about, and it's a paradigm shift now. So it's kind of everything changes, but not necessarily like oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
just like a 180. That's just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as it's kind of like without being dramatic, it's just as dramatic. But if I were to one let's see if I can. I mean, maybe you need to help me unpack this a little bit.
Or
But
how did you feel before, and then what's the change? What's the difference? What's experientially for you?
well, that's the more difficult one to answer.
Okay, let's stick with the unexpected outcome.
I think there's something about the money side of things now. Obviously, uh, for anyone watching, Julie's containers are high ticket.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. So the one needs to be in a willing and able to kind of. I think it's how I look at money and energy exchange was quite an eye opener. A serious and not just an eye opener. It opened my eyes and kept them open. It's like just wow, this is how things work. The flow of abundance, the opening up of abundance, and I think it's you know as you helped me recontextualize this as we did the container. But let's say I made myself the gift of spending $10,000 in a month, which um, could have appeared quite crazy. It's like, what? you
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're in the linear mindset of what do I get out of this,
Mm.
you know, um, then that could appear quite crazy unless you're quite a rich person. I'm kind of all right. I'm not rich, but I can pay that. But it's still a bit of a jump. It's
Mm-hmm.
and so you give a gift to yourself
Mm-hmm.
and you receive it back, not necessarily in money, quite possibly in money, but you just receive it back. You also realize that money has almost nothing really to do with it.
Yeah.
You take that chance of, I don't know, what would people be scared of, like being conned, not getting value for money, this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said early on, and it became very clear very, very quickly, it's like um, as soon as you pay, the work's already begun and the
Mm.
work's doing itself. And as you said to me at the beginning, we could sit here for the next 3 months sipping margaritas.
Mm.
It's done.
It's done.
Now, of course, it wasn't sipping margaritas. I maybe had a
Yes,
couple in
we still do something.
there. But so there was a lot that went on, but fundamentally, I made that investment in myself. And then I also recognized as I say, that money really didn't have anything to do with it, that I don't really own the money. It's just it's moving around.
Yeah.
It's going where it needs to. And also I think, the money has energy. Now, people can attribute different meanings to money. For a lot of people, it's a guilty thing, or it can be negative. For some people, they use it freely. It has different meanings, but it has a lot of energy. $10,000 has a lot of energy, and you experience that. It just upgrades the whole experience. So that's kind of also a different angle on how it already does the work. If
The
I
work
paid you
of
five hundred
boundary as
dollars,
well, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and the work of being grateful,
Mm-hmm.
to the rational mind, it could seem a bit outrageous, but you pay more and you're grateful for it. You're grateful for the opportunity to pay more,
Yeah,
which to me, it I
it's
don't know whether I'm
mind-blowing.
explaining it very well, but
Hmm.
it is mind blowing that really this just changes your whole concept of
Mm.
how
Giving and
abundance and the flow
receiving.
of energy and giving and receiving works. You know,
You receive it back in energy, and
yeah,
the work
yeah,
is doing itself in the background.
yeah, yeah, and fundamental to this, because of course there are people out there who may charge a fortune for really not doing a good job, shall we say. So
Hmm.
it's absolutely vital that the person providing a high value container like this is in integrity, and that's the it's the conviction of the person, the knowing of their own worth, that almost doesn't require them,
To sell.
I mean, to sell, to be specifically skilled or anything. It's but you and that encouraged me to step into my own conviction about myself. And this is exiting the paradigm of victim consciousness, uh,
Yeah.
that actually is just oh poor me, or oh I couldn't do that, or um, I need to think about other people. All of these things, in certainly in my case, and I think in most cases, are kind of a smokescreen for
Hmm.
one's own ego or pride, or without being too harsh, but when you really, step into your power and take up your space, express and require people to value you, then you're kind of you're a target. People can it's a little bit scary,
Hmm.
but that's also very empowering, because you're now not thinking, oh, I can't do this because I don't know, some person on the outside or some circumstance prevents me from doing it. It's like, no,
Hmm.
so it's all you,
Yeah.
and you are valuable, but you have to claim it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So this is a game changer, just to move from.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is like in spiritual circles, and I think in normal circles, these are all very obvious things that people talk about all the time. But being in the container with you was actually actualizing this, to know this is
Hmm.
true, stop making excuses for myself and not judge myself. It's like, okay, I recognize that it's completely in my power. I can still choose not to do it, but that's on me.
Yes,
And
and
if
I
I'm
don't
okay
judge
with that,
myself for it.
yeah, yeah. So,
Being self-referential.
mhm, yeah. And as you said a lot, I think also the key ingredient is enjoyment and feeling inspired.
Yeah.
Not doing things because you. This my work with our work together has really removed a huge amount of the shoulds in my life, or made me look at where I've been feeling obliged,
Mm.
and refocusing me on, I'm really only responsible for myself, for
Hmm.
my own. Fill your
And does
cup
it feel
first.
true? Does it feel true
Yes.
now, what I am offering, how I am
Mm-hmm.
offering it?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
it changes. It's not true forever. And
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
follow this realignment or this
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
heart
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
frequency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm happy for you.
So I think that just to say that I think there's this confidence as well that comes, that I think I commented this to you perhaps after in the second half of the container, that having set a few boundaries with a couple of key people in my life who are no longer really in my life, but having set a few key boundaries, um, until you set boundaries, or until if that's your own personal journey, the necessity to do that, um, then you take the leap. It's uncomfortable. I mean, everybody probably knows this to some degree,
Hmm.
but you take the leap, and then you find that it's never as bad as you thought. And then you reach a point where instead of trying to avoid triggers all the time, you actually start to kind of welcome them a little bit more. Actually feel like, wow, this thing has come up and it won't. I'm too
It,
conscious now for
it's
it to go
showing
away.
me.
I can't avoid it. It's sooner or later I have to deal with this. But there's more humor around that, less fear now. So you
Yeah,
become like,
show me. I want to
yeah,
see.
as you would say, bring it on. No,
Yeah.
so that's this is all quite funny, really.
Yeah,
But
it's not pleasant, but it's more it's less avoided or resisted. It's more like, oh,
it's
okay.
not
Oh,
it's
it's
not
showing
gonna
me where I'm not free.
it's
Let's
not gonna
just
kill you.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's great. And what would you say if to someone who's ready or hesitant, inclined but hesitant?
Um, well, do it, obviously. Uh, you know, so let's say earlier on, one of the this is very key actually and relates to, which voice do you listen to? You have this inspiration. It's like, hell yes, let's do this. And then, yes, but all these reasons I can't do it. Now, it'd be very easy for me to say, and I do say, uh, follow your instinct, trust your intuition.
Hmm.
Because ultimately that's the only thing. If let's say probably the reason the person might want to do a container is because in some area of their life they feel a little bit stuck. They need a bit of help, need something's missing. And Julie can help you immensely with that. But in terms of yourself, the one thing which will change that is following your excitement, trusting your intuition.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
It's the only way.
And you can do it now, or you can wait.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You do
Yeah.
whatever you like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
whatever's right for you. But
Yeah.
that's
If
the way.
there's
That's
an
the way.
intuition, and then it's the same thing with
Yeah.
everything. Not only
Yeah.
with choosing a container or not choosing a container. It's the same thing with
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
intuition? Is it my excitement? Do I feel called to do this? Do I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
enjoyment in doing the way I'm living, the way I'm what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing and yeah, and who I invite
Yeah.
in my life and
So many things. Yeah. Yeah. And so this question of a person thinking about doing the container and having the inspiration and yet the negative talk of the mind saying, giving you 100 reasons why not. One thing I learned quite early on, again, this is another sort of spiritual saying, um, that you can repeat yourself as a mantra, or well, it wouldn't be a mantra. You can you can positive think yourself with repeating this to yourself, but the mind, don't listen to the mind, or the mind, don't believe your mind. But then at a certain point, it clicked. It's just like, I'm thinking this thing, and it has absolutely no kind of inherent reality. It's
mm-hmm,
a belief. It's a
mm-hmm,
choice.
mm-hmm,
Now, if I challenge it inside my own mind, it might it might kick and scream a little bit. But when it knows that I know, and me being my true self, my core,
mm-hmm,
if when it's seen, it can't really carry on existing. It loses its power, and you realize that, um, yes, these negative thoughts or these doubts that stop me from doing the container, say, using this example, I could listen to them and I can continue listening to them, but they're not actually real. They're just they're just programs, part of the protective personality that, God bless its heart, is trying to remain in control.
yeah,
But that's not that's the old story. That's what you're trying to get out of if you're stuck. You're this is the thing which limits you. And the only way to really penetrate that, as I say, is to follow as much as you can. No? Follow your intuition, your instincts. And in my case, that was yeah,
In the choice of what I choose to do in this physical,
yeah,
dense
hmm,
reality,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and like
yeah,
walking the talk,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and then walking the talk, and then walking.
keeping walking the talk. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, was there any how was it to end it? How was it for you to say like now it's done, or there was something in you that there was this instinct now that was different?
Well, I hadn't got any money left at that point, but that's no. I could have. That's the joke. I could have carried on. Well, as you mentioned at the start, we ended up finishing it with meeting each other in person.
Which was a quite interesting experiment, right?
Yeah, because the person on the computer screen and the person in real life, it's still the same essence, but you also get to meet it with your personalities as well. No? And
Yeah,
we have quite different personalities. We have quite different lives and experiences. So that was kind of like an extra supercharge, just to kind of look at everything we'd, for me anyway, to look at everything we'd, but also to it's kind of what, because we were mentor client,
yeah.
but also a mentor is always, it's kind of like going on their own path, you know,
Mm-hmm.
still developing.
Yes.
It's kind of, they might be a bit further ahead, and that's the big thing, as you said, sometimes you don't have to be a long way ahead. I mean, that's very
Yeah,
linear.
yeah.
No one's ahead of anyone else, but you don't have to be so
Perfect.
much more awake than the other
Arrived.
person.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You just need to be enough that you can bridge them. No, it's
Uh-huh.
bridging. And in fact, if if one was to go to someone who's just at a, I don't know, three dimensions, three densities higher in their understanding, then that bridging might not happen because it's so. But anyway, what I was saying is, we had this very interesting kind of extra experience, and I think really valuable because I did a lot of psychoanalysis when I was much younger, and it's very very formal. And I think in most therapies that necessarily there's quite a strict client
Oh, yes.
mentor or therapist
The
division,
role
and that
stays the role. We don't
yeah
get out of the
yeah
role. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah so and I think that's extremely valuable, but I also
Mm-hmm.
think
It has its
there's an area
place.
to
Yeah.
there's an area to explore where, and I don't think so many people do this, where okay, let's jump in and see how this. So while you were in Peru, you were at certain points, we were back in the mode of client and mentor. Um, and at other times, hanging out as friends. Other times, even you could say, I was the guide and you were the
Yeah,
client, in a
yeah, yeah.
sense. No?
And it also
So
comes back to there is no hierarchy.
yes, yeah, yeah,
It's um how able am I to be authentic, to still be vulnerable and also strong and
mm,
walk straight ahead and honor myself and be true to myself. So we kind of went into that's what I see in retrospect in an exploration. How about now? I'm not just the
mm,
mirror, I'm in the dynamic.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
okay, so then there
yeah.
is this exploration of when is the role and when is not the role. And okay,
Right,
let's drop the
yeah,
role because now we're just friend and now you're guiding me and I'm in my trust is in you because you are guiding me in a country that I don't know, and
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
it's really interesting.
How to navigate, between different, because we're always playing some kind of role, but how do we move between? Because life will change, you know, on a daily, hourly basis in our interactions with people. We move into a different role with every single person we meet. So,
We
um,
discover ourselves through each other.
yeah, yeah. So I think by the time, just to come back to your question, how did it feel to finish? It felt like so much had completed, uh, and a little bit more, with this extra unusual experience that we had together. Um, and it was great, it was lovely to do that. And amazing to show you my my neck of the woods. Um, but I also felt like, because 3 months is pretty intense now, and
You did a lot.
it's like, so integration is going on all the time, but there's also that integration where you know you go out and do it alone.
Yeah,
Um, Now, even in the container, I was still going out and doing it alone, but I did have, because let's say in comparison to many years ago, doing a lot of psychoanalysis in a completely different frequency and mindset, um, unknowingly to me, I was really looking for a lot of hand holding. And so in the end, it didn't really work. So um, there comes a point that there's, with you, it's very open and exploratory, and yet there are moments, and you will never say you have to do this. You'll just kind of gently let me draw my own conclusions that, you know this thing needs to be dealt with, that I know already, but it's nice to, it's really helpful to have it confirmed. But at a certain point, then it's time to go out and do it alone, you
yeah.
know and
And you knew there's
um
something in you
yeah.
knew, and that's your
Hmm.
truth.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, it's
That's nice.
it's both sad, not sad, but it's like, oh, it's like you get, it's nice to be in the container now. And also it's like a feeling of a little bit of luxury in a way. My personal path with spiritual development's been quite harsh, quite punitive. I've
Discipline.
sat in a I've sat in a hut in the jungle on my own for 2 years, not eating anything and throwing up a lot, because that's what happens with plant dieta and ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Uh, and this is like, yeah, um, this gets to be about me, but in a healthy way.
Yeah.
This is the delicate matter, of so much of, if anybody's been in spirituality for any time, it's about being selfless and being of service. But you have to learn to be a bit selfish first,
Oh yeah.
but in a good way, because so much of our selflessness is self-sacrifice, which doesn't help anybody, because you're not valuing yourself, and therefore you can't transmit
Mm-hmm.
to other people their
That
own
it's okay to
value. You
value
can't.
yourself first.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and
serve by valuing
yeah.
yourself.
And this funny thing with, the better you get at valuing yourself and charging a higher price because you're in conviction, because you understand how it works, that you're just claiming the abundance that you are,
Mm-hmm.
but you're willing to do it and put your head above the parapet, step up and say, I'm here. This is me.
Mm-hmm.
This is me at my best, most expansive, and hell, I'm worth 10,000, 50,000, $100,000 a month, whatever. That's just the money side of it. It's not just about money. It's
No.
abundance is in every way. And the more you value yourself, actually, the less work you have to do. in terms of work,
Yeah.
because you are you are the medicine, you are the teaching, you are the bridge for that person. Just it's your being
To
that does
say
it, you
yes
know.
to themselves.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's
your it's pure
mhm,
permission.
mhm.
It's pure permission to recognize that you have it all and it's all within your power, and nothing any teacher or mentor can say or do
Will give you
is
what you already
will give you
have.
that. You claim it.
I was about to say, what I heard in your word is when it's done, it's like it's time for me to walk on my own. It's time. I'm okay now. I'm ready. I go out and now I see your website is born and you're offering your service. You have more clarity about what it is you're offering and how you want to make yourself available. And
Yeah.
it's sad and it's not sad because of course we develop a rapport and for me too now it's like, oh, this Solomon is not here and it's fine too. Um, so I hear what you're saying in that. And I'm really, really happy because the intent is for you to step in self-sovereignty. So the intent is really not to be in any type of codependency. And as long as it
Mhm.
feels true from my end to offer it, it feels true. And at the same time, I could see with you, okay, yeah, I think that's it. I think it's it's known. Yeah. And I
Yes.
often tell
Yeah.
people how to make a decision. Where is the most growth for me? Saying yes
Hmm.
or saying no? And sometimes saying
Yeah.
yes is where is the most growth, even though my mind says fuck no, but my heart says yeah.
Yeah.
And then at some
Yeah.
point it's like now the more growth is by saying no.
Mhm.
And if you follow that, you can't
Yeah.
lose yourself.
Yeah. 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 Or the path of most courage. uh,
Yeah.
To yeah, for sure.
And what
So
else did you see change in your relationship with people in what happened on your physical reality? What reflection changed? And I'm curious to know more about that.
um so I wouldn't say that my friendship circle, this is sort of my own work in progress, but my friendship circle has expanded, but my relationship with the friends I do have has deepened.
Mm,
And certain where there were blocks before with uh, certainly one friend I can think of, that's now mellowed quite a lot. And um, I just get a lot of comments that they just keep saying how I'm shining. Um, they want to yeah, they feel much better around me. I'm much less grumpy than I was before.
yeah,
And um, I think ultimately it's my relationship with myself is
yeah.
just changing. I just feel a lot more relaxed um, in my daily life. Yeah, and a few people who I no longer resonate with. Um, they left my field.
Mm,
Uh, um, so, and I didn't feel guilty about that. It's
mm,
like it's sort of like I don't owe anybody anything. So
yeah. And you make space for new people to appear.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I feel so much of that is like yesterday. I was both feeling sort of let's say higher frequencies in myself and lower frequencies. Just in the time I spent alone, I was just walking in the last couple of days, and I'll feel myself getting drawn into the suffering of the mind. But there's this, and I think this is very fundamental to what I experienced with you. Is like this divine neutrality starts to come online. It's always been there, but you just feel, you start to expand the level of confidence you feel, safety in yourself. And that's what allows you to love all of the bullshit that comes up, or the trauma,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. It's, you can just say, I can, from this position, I can see that this is passing. Maybe I don't like it, but actually I can choose in this moment to be like, I won't reject it. I'll just be like, okay, here we go again. But
Yeah.
it's passing. Or some really feeling of real solidity and confidence in myself starts to arise. And I might be, say, thinking about a romantic relationship or the potential for that. And the mind then wants to take that into positive thinking and run away with that. But actually, then there's this grounding it. Just, okay, this is all actually just happening within me.
Yeah.
Whether this romantic partner comes or whether these friendships come, that's all the outward appearance of it. What's actually really the reality is what's happening inside of me in this exact moment. And the more I ground that, then you kind of inside yourself, you're upgrading. It doesn't have to show up instantly on the outside, but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
And
matter.
the less it doesn't matter, the more it shows up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's this the cosmic joke.
Yeah. Great. Well, I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.